This is Warrior Sound Live.
Here comes Curry. Step back off the dribble three. Are you kidding me?
Here's Laurence Scott.
Thank you. With the NBA back in full effect, this Warrior Sound NBA Restart Edition opens with a flashback. And it's a flashback to the Warriors in Portland just before the holidays.
In Portland, Oregon, the Warriors' final road game before a nice 5-game holiday homestand and the second meeting with the Blazers. And the first meeting was the first win ever at Chase Center. It was a lot of fun. D'Angelo Russell, Draymond Green did not play in that game, but a lot of Warrior youngsters really gave the Blazers all they would want. Now, Portland, they played the 5th most difficult schedule in the league, and they're starting to improve and get back to playoff positioning.
That, of course, Warriors broadcaster Bob Fitzgerald joining us now. And Fitz, a very different Blazers team making noise inside the bubble than what the Warriors saw earlier this season.
Well, the thing is, Lawrence, when you look at an NBA season and you think, okay, November-ish to April, when you have Yusuf Nurkic out and Zach Collins out and you sustained all these injuries, normally you wouldn't be able to respond or recover from that. But because of the NBA pause and now the restart, that's allowed the Blazers to get healthy. So they're as healthy as they've been, as hot as they've been. Carmelo Anthony, if you've seen photos and watched games, he's probably lost 20 pounds and is a far more dynamic player. So toss that to McCollum and Damian Lillard, and whoa, look at the Blazers. They're legit, and they're doing some damage right now.
Yeah, we always think of how Damian Lillard represents Oakland, the Oakland native, after the win over Houston, had this to say on the TNT broadcast.
We understand what's on the line, and we know what we got to do to give ourselves a chance in the postseason. And that's what we're doing. It's not going to be pretty. We've been off for 4 months. Our rhythm and timing and playing every other day, it's going to take effect. And we just know that we got to compete. We got to be together. And we got to want it more than the other teams when it comes down to it. And I think that's why we've been able to win 2 out of these first 3. And almost had a chance to steal one from Boston in our last game. But we're hungry, and I think our team is playing like it even when it's not looking great out there.
So, Fitz, let's project a bit here. The Lakers have clinched the conference. If Portland were to face the Lakers as the 8th seed, what's the upset potential?
Well, a lot of times in the playoffs in a series, it gets all to matchups, okay? So if you look at the size of the Lakers, there's Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee and all this size. Well, Portland has Nurkic and they have Hassan Whiteside. There's very few teams that have that kind of tall timber together. So then you say, well, small forward, got to deal with LeBron. Okay, well, they don't have anybody really to guard LeBron, but Carmelo Anthony will get foul calls and can take and make big shots, and I mentioned his fitness level. Well, then let's flip it the other way. Lillard and McCollum, they're playing 40 minutes a night right now in the bubble, and if you're the Lakers, do you have guys that can guard both of them? So I think L.A. would say, hey, wait a minute, 1-8, fine, we got the 8 seed, this is about as dangerous an 8 seed as possible from being hot, from having superstars, from having veterans like Carmelo, and then having size. Now, Portland's not that deep. They're playing 8 guys right now, and so, Gary Trent Jr. and Simons and Whiteside off the bench would become critical, but, the Lakers are incredibly deep and probably the best team in the league. But, man, I think Portland would scare them a little bit in a 7-game series. That would be fun to watch.
Most certainly, and the only reason that we're putting Portland into this scenario is that Memphis is finding some trouble inside the bubble and now dealing with some injury issues.
I'm giving you full credit for trouble in the bubble. I like that. That's right off the bat. But, losing Jaren Jackson is a monster loss. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson are the future of Memphis. They've lost some close games. The Pelicans beating them recently was a big factor. It just feels like Memphis has got a flat tire, and it's, how many more miles can they drive with that flat tire? Because Portland's coming after them. Obviously, Zion's coming after them. You never know where Phoenix is going to be. This last little 8-9 thing, I think we're getting a playoff 8-9, a play-in scenario, which I think is great. But these next couple games, every one of them is critical to finish it off.
Let's flip things over now to the East. And in general, how are you seeing things shape up? What teams to you seem comfortable and productive from the East as we see things play out in Orlando?
Well, I think if you look at the East, the Milwaukee sitting Giannis for a whole second half was kind of odd, but they're done. They're clinched. So I think the Bucks, do they Middleton and Antetokounmpo, are they ready to rectify last year's kind of meltdown? I think Toronto is a title contender. I am blown away by losing Kawhi, how well Pascal Siakam has stepped into the breach. And then you got Lowry and Van Vliet. You've got Ibaka and Marc Gasol. They're a deep team. They really play good defense. They're cohesive, and they kind of sneak up on people, even though they're the defending champs. You hear, Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, whatever. So Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, the Heat. There's a lot of really interesting top-level teams in the Eastern Conference, and you keep waiting for Philly with all that talent and say, well, with Simmons and Embiid, they're going to be a factor. But if Boston-Philly end up in a 3-6 matchup, that would be incredible. I mean, for a first-round series, that might be the most spicy first-round series we see in the whole deal. But I think people are sleeping on Toronto, and I think the Bucks still have something for him. The way Giannis is playing, he would be, the focal point for every team they would see in the playoffs.
You think of some of the teams in the West that are trying to make their way up into the picture as real contenders in the playoffs, and what we're seeing from Luka Doncic right now, I mean, it's exceptional. The youngest player with a 30-20-10 stat line after an impressive triple-double as the Mavs beat Sacramento, and we're seeing it at such an early age, the guy with incredible poise. What do you make of what he's doing and being now comfortable inside the bubble in Orlando?
Well, the one thing with every great young player is always, who's the next something, okay? So Steph Curry is going to be the next Steve Nash, and, he probably surpassed it. The comparable for Luka Doncic, and it is a mouthful and it covers a lot of real estate, is he's LeBron. He's the Euro LeBron James, because with that size and the scoring and the rebounding, and similar to LeBron, Doncic's perimeter shot isn't, it isn't Steph Curry or Klay Thompson knockdown, but it's still definitely there, but it will get better as he gets better. You look up, he's always at the free throw line 10 times, and he impacts the game with the ball in his hands at unusual size for a guard or wing. Now, he's not the physical specimen LeBron is, but maybe his fitness level, becomes even better as he gets older. But Doncic has been playing amongst European men his whole life. He reminds me in the way he controls the game and impacts the game like LeBron James. Now, he's not there because LeBron's done it for decades, but there's a little starter set there that makes you really watch him. And, yeah, these numbers, triple-doubles and the 30-20-10, and just they're awe-inspiring at his age, given what he's doing.
Well, as for Dallas, they currently sit 7th, and they've been playing some close games. 17 of their games this season decided by 5 points or less. These games really are counting, and the Mavs probably don't want to stay at 7 if they can help it.
Well, if you look at it with teams at 42 wins and 41, going all the way 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 means you get the Clippers, more than likely, or Denver. Neither one of those is a picnic. So the 2-7 matchup, you would want to avoid that at all costs. You get to 3-6, and maybe it's Houston, maybe it's Denver, maybe it's Utah, maybe it's OKC in a 4-5 matchup. Those are all more palatable. I think for all the teams sitting at 41, 42 wins, the goal is not to see the Lakers and not to see the Clippers in the first round. Now, Lakers are 1 seed. You have a huge lead over the 8 seed. So cross the Lakers off. But the Clippers or Denver, that's not who you want in round 1, because the chances of moving past that are minimal. So these teams, the way the bubble's set up as close as they are in the West, every single game matters. All the teams are scoreboard watching. And to get us into the postseason, this has been like the coolest mini tournament I think that Adam Silver could have ever concocted.
All great stuff. Fitz, thanks as always for taking time with us, and we will talk to you very soon here on Warrior Sound.
Yeah, that's hopefully there'll be more playoff conversations coming up, and knock on everything in terms of health and safety and the protocols the NBA has followed. This really is an unusual, historic time for the league, and hopefully they can be the model on how to, to finish something off the right way.
With Bob Fitzgerald, I'm Laurence Scott. Thank you for listening to Warrior Sound.
This has been Warrior Sound Live.
Right side three. Got